Welcome to the webinar on upgrading your VS transmitter with the new version 4 software. I'm Chuck Kelly, and I'm joined today by Joey Kloss, Customer Service Technician here at Nautel in Denver. Hi, Joey.
Hey guys, how's it going?
That's going all right. So here's the things we're going to talk about today, and we're going to make this as brief as possible just so you understand how easy and quick it is to upgrade your VS to version 4 software. First off, we're going to talk about what's involved. We're going to talk about the new features you get as part of this. We're going to talk about doing the OS or operating system upgrade step by step. We're going to talk about doing the software upgrade step by step, checking out how you know you've got it right. And then we're going to walk through the new features, and we're actually going to show a unit that's on the air in Quincy, Illinois. So what's involved? This is an operating system upgrade, like replacing your Linux Apple operating system or Windows version on a PC. So it's a big deal. It's like going from Windows XP to Windows 7 or something. It's not something you do lightly, and it takes some time. You'll need about an hour of off-air time, or less. It may take as little as 20 minutes or so if you're quick about it. A USB memory stick, and a big file download from Nautel. And you can get everything downloaded and ready before you even begin. You will lose your current settings, so make sure you write them all down or do some screen captures. And when the operating system is completely upgraded, then we'll update the VS software. And here's all the stuff that comes as a part of this upgrade. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of these in some detail. Nel Phone Home, which we'll go into great detail on for you. MPX over AES, also known as Omnia Direct. This may require a hardware upgrade. SNMP Traps, which Joey's going to explain for us. AUI meter memory, port forwarding, secured SMTP password, IceCast support, a new scheduler, NTP support to keep the time in your transmitter accurate, MER meters for HD radio applications, and the AUI call sign display. So the very first thing we're going to do is write down your settings. So using a PC or laptop with a web browser, log into your AUI and screen capture the various screens so that you can restore them when the upgrade is complete. Does not take really very long, but it's a good thing to know what your settings are, because it's just like when you reformat your computer. It's going to start all over at ground zero. Then you're going to want to take and use a PC or laptop with a web browser and go to this web address, FTP, so-and-so, all the way through. And then there's a 171 megabyte zip file there. And this little graphic here on the side is a QR code. So if you have a QR reader on the PC you're watching this on, you can grab that, and it'll give you that long string for your web browser to download this. And when you do that, you will get to this directory, and this is the file you want to download, this VSRMCS OS Recovery 4.0 zip, and it's 171 megabytes. And when you've got that file, then what you do is continue on here. You unzip all those files onto the root of a USB drive. So it only takes about, 300-400 megabytes when it's all unzipped, and you'll have all these files on the root of that USB drive. And so the next thing to do is to plug that USB drive into the back of your VS transmitter, the top slot, the top USB slot on the back of the transmitter. Then what you do is you go over to the main menu, or the UI, navigate to main menu, and then system settings and OS recovery screen, and that will show the word cancel. And you hit the up arrow button to change the selection to forced OS recovery. And then you press the center check mark to initiate the process. And when you do that, it'll look just like this, Force OS Recovery. And then it's going to go through some steps, and your eyes have not suddenly gone bad. Some of these screens are a little bit blurry, but that's the way it is. The VS transmitter on the front panel will indicate the progress of the upgrade. It should take about 20-25 minutes all told to do this OS upgrade. And it'll go through these various screens, and it'll tell you what percentage done it is. And at this point, what it's really doing is reinstalling the operating system on the transmitter with a newer version of the Linux operating system. When that's complete, you reboot the transmitter by cycling the AC power off and then on. You only need to leave it off for a few seconds. Leave the USB flash drive connected, and this will complete the OS recovery procedure. And once the OS recovery is complete, the user database is reset. So at that point, all you have is the default Nautel user with no password if you're going to log in with the AUI. And then you can go back at that point and reinstall all your lost user settings, including user accounts, logs, SNMP configuration, email configuration, time zone, notifications, and playlists. Now, bear in mind that one of the things that's going to happen here is the transmitter is going to keep bugging you about going ahead and doing the file system upgrade, or the programs upgrade. The TGZ upgrade is what we would call it. Those are the actual applications within the VS4 software. So in order to do that, and it doesn't take very long, you're going to navigate from the front panel menu again to System Settings, Update Firmware. And when you do that, you select the file, which will show up there because it's on that USB stick, and you begin, you tell it to do that, and it'll go through a couple of screens. Take, I don't know, 10 minutes, something like that, to get done, and it'll automatically reboot. And at that point, you'll have a completely updated transmitter. Go in, check your settings, make sure they're all the way that you want to. Before you reconnect to the AUI, you're going to want to clear your browser cache. Generally, there's an option in your tools menu to do that. All right, so that's the process, and you're off the air basically until you're done with that process. So plan on being off the air for a little less than an hour when you do this. And now what we can do is go to the transmitter in Quincy through the AUI and take a look at what features we now have that we didn't have before. So Joey, this is where you're going to help me out here. Let's go to the transmitter in Quincy, and there is an operating VS series transmitter in Quincy, Illinois, that we now have complete control of. And this one is operating at the moment in HD mode. And you can see that we're actually bringing in audio, so there's live audio going to the dummy load, and we're running 24.8 or 24.9 watts at the moment. So let's start to go through some of the features. What's the first one you'd like to show here, Joey?
I guess we can just start at the top. If we go to Menu,
Okay.
then we go to User Settings.
Ready? And
User Settings.
oh, user settings, not users. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Right here. All right.
And here's where you should be able to verify all your network setups.
Okay, so you can set up all your networking. We recommend a static IP.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The other note is that this cannot be changed from the AUI. All these settings need to be entered from the front UI panel. The reason for this is in case you don't want people changing your network settings on you without knowing. It's kind of a safety feature.
Yep. Okay. And over here is where we have email configuration. What's new here now is authentication, right?
Correct. We now support SSL and TSL authentication and encryption through standard emails like Gmail, Yahoo, Exchange.
That's very valuable. That's something that a lot of people have been asking for. Most of these features that we're talking about right now are things that our customers have asked us to implement.
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about SNMP configuration, and particularly traps.
Okay, SNMP is a serial data source coming from the transmitter to your remote control. The most that we've seen is the Burke Remote Plus. A lot of our customers are starting to use that, and they're utilizing the SNMP data stream to monitor the transmitter via telemetry as well as control it.
Also works with a Dabicom, I believe.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we flip back to Agent,
Yep.
the Agent tab, okay, so the Agent port would be a port that would need to be opened up if you are trying to do this over a wide network.
So you'd have to go
meaning
into
you're going from subnet to subnet.
You'd have to go into your router and do some port forwarding then.
Correct. You need to port forward 161 as well as 162. Some of our customers have servers that sit back at the studio side that just monitor the incoming data stream. So we want to make sure that the router systems within your IT network has those ports available and open. The other thing is this read community and write community do require passwords. So you can choose your own, but for simplicity, I usually use Nautel for read and write, and in your SNMP receiving agent, it will also ask you for permissions for read and write. So you want to match those passwords together.
And presumably, if you're going to make this thing available through the public internet, you'll want to use a more secure password.
Correct. By enabling traps, you're going to allow the transmitter to send the data to your trap receiver IP, which would be your remote control system or datacom. So if we click over to traps as the tab traps, here you can choose the essentially it's just notifications. So you pick the notifications that you'd like to be notified, and by making sure that this path is available from the transmitter to your receiving server, you will get notified.
Okay. All right, so that's how we would enable those particular traps.
Correct.
Okay. Next up.
Critical parameters?
Sure.
I really like this feature, especially coming from Nautel's customer service department. This really gives us a much better diagnostic view of your transmitter. By clicking on, if your transmitter happens to have an issue, this gives us just such a good level of detail. It helps us out a lot. By clicking capture meters, capture alarms, capture presets, and capture settings, it allows you to copy these and paste them either into a Word document, a Notepad document, or Excel. My preference is Excel because you can use the different tabs at the bottom of Excel to organize your logs and error messages.
Okay.
Quite useful, and you can send that to us in an email. Very small format. Doesn't take up a lot of room, and it gets to us quick, and we can pass it around to engineering if we need to.
Sure.
Or identify any issues.
Makes sense. Okay. All right, back to that. All right, next, the spectrum mask is new, isn't it? I mean, you can...
Yes, we can do different spectrum masks for the different HD
standards.
Standards, correct. Sorry.
Okay. Under time setup, one of the things that we've got in this new release is a new scheduler, which allows you to do things based on a time of day basis. And in order to do that, it's necessary to have very accurate time. And this system allows you to get that accurate time set up. So not only can you set up your particular time zone and all that information, but then you can come in here and grab a synchronization over the web from an atomic clock and synchronize your transmitter system much more accurately.
Correct. My recommendation is in the time setup section that I would first go into the time setup and set your region. It helps the transmitter determine exactly where it is, and then by enabling your NTP clock, you get a more accurate and quicker response from the servers.
Okay. It says that NTP is enabled, so I don't know why it's... Oh, I enabled it again. I didn't mean to. Oh, I have to apply. There you go. So now, is it enabled again? All right. Apply. Okay, now it's off, and I can come over to time setup theoretically, and I should be able to choose a region, but it's not letting me. There we go. So I can choose the Americas. Yep.
Yep.
And this one's in Quincy, Illinois, so I can put that in the United States. And it should be the Central Time Zone.
And click apply.
Apply. Now I should be able to go back over here to NTP servers and enable and hit apply, and it'll automatically sync the clock up correctly. Very good. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about Nautel Phone Home. And before I'll show it here. This is where we enable participation in Call Home. But let me first explain what Phone Home is so that there's no question. Phone Home is a system that actually allows the transmitter to send information packets to us and a database that we have here at Nautel. And this allows our customer service department, specifically right at the beginning anyway, to mine this database and understand what problems a transmitter may be having before necessarily you even know you have a problem. And that's very, very valuable. It is a firewall-friendly service because the packets are going out to the system. And most firewalls are protective of a system from inbound standpoint. They keep things from coming into your system through the firewall, but packets going out are typically always allowed. And this enhances Nautel's ability to support you by providing the parameters, all of the things that are going on inside the transmitter. It allows us to see if we've got any problems, with a particular component. Maybe a fan or something isn't showing the kind of life we would normally expect. It allows us to see that. So let's go look at this. This is your transmitter is identified by the MAC ID, the model number, the serial number, and then you can put it in an email address so that if we notice a problem on the transmitter, we can contact you. Is that pretty much correct?
Correct. You will have to look at the back of the transmitter to identify your serial number. Some of our customers are looking for it inside the AUI. It is stamped on the back of the transmitter.
Right. And tell me about this remote service button. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, the remote service is, it's kind of a workaround. We have a lot of difficulty getting VPN access to some of the transmitters, navigating through heavy IT securities. So by clicking Allow Remote Service, it sends us an encrypted password which will allow us to backhaul through to your transmitter and access the AUI from the Nautel facility.
And this would allow something. I mean, in the past, we've had people who would try to put something like a log me in or a team viewer instance with a computer sitting at their site looking at the UA. It makes it much easier for you to get access from the AUI for customer service.
Correct.
Okay. Over here, it's a crazy little thing. It's nothing major, but people have been wanting to be able to put an ID of what station this is, the call sign, because they have a lot of Nautel transmitters with AUIs, and when they see one on a screen, they're not quite sure which one they're looking at. So as you can see here, we entitle this one Quincy VS300, and up at the top of the screen up here, you'll see Quincy VS300 listed there. So you could put whatever you want, up to 15 characters, to make that work. Anything else we should show on this page?
No, I think you've got it there.
Okay, so let's go over and show this scheduler that we were talking about. This is the new scheduler that's a part of the Nautel transmitter, the VS series, and it's part of what you just loaded. And what it allows is what's called a rule-based scheduler, which allows you to go in and create a set of rules. So between this time and this time, repeat every, in this case, 24 hours, only on Fridays, only on this day, go to this preset. And it's a very, very flexible system because you can have as many rules as you want, and you can look at months and months and months in advance. So it allows you, for instance, if you wanted to go and take a satellite feed, when the satellite dish is at your transmitter site, to take a satellite feed at the top of the hour exactly for 5 minutes and then switch back to the normal STL input, you could do that. You could make it do that by just having all the settings in a preset set up for your normal STL, make a copy of that preset, and only change the audio input. So, for instance, you might take the satellite from left and right analog, and it would automatically do that. You could make it do that, or you could change the power level or what have you automatically. You could turn on and off an RDS signal just by changing a preset. And so it's a very, very powerful scheduler, and it allows you to see what's going on. And this is the reason, this is what drove the need to have NTP synchronization so the clocks are exactly perfect on the transmitter. Then we have the playlist. So on the playlist, in the past we had playlists, but we only had one, and it wasn't what I would call super user-friendly. So in this particular case, you can see we have a playlist here called Test 1. I could create another one. But in this particular playlist, these are the cuts that are currently on that playlist, and I can move them around and change their order or delete them, get rid of a cut there. I can also, this is what's on the USB stick. These are all the cuts that are on the USB stick. So I can go grab a new one here and just drag it over and drop it right there, and that'll put that into that playlist, and that doesn't seem to be working.
Oh, you'd have to, it does put it into the playlist, but then it drops it at the bottom. So then you reorganize. You go to the bottom of the playlist where you've added them, and you can move them up and down.
You're right. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Okay, then we'll go over here on the streams tab. These are streams like Icecast and Shoutcast streams, which are configured, and they allow you to. Right now, we're, for instance, playing a stream from a community FM station up here. Won't let me edit it because it's currently on the air, but I could come over here to try this one, and that's what that one looks like. So it shows that it's an Icecast or Shoutcast stream. That's the name of it, and that's the actual URL for that stream. So this allows us to create these streams, and when we do that, for instance, it could be a backup STL. Your station could be broadcasting to the web over a Shoutcast or Icecast, and if your STL were to fail, you could take and program your stream in here, and if your main audio goes down, it could automatically switch over, and it could bring on the stream and put that on the air. So let's see, what else have we got here to talk about?
Can we talk about, just real quick, just show the viewers how to enable those. That's a lot of questions about how do I enable a stream and how do I get the playlist to work?
Okay, so in this case, we went to main audio, selected secondary digital, and then all the streams and or playlists that are configured in the system are then available on this menu. And all we did was we chose this one, but I believe test 1 was the actual playlist one, and I hit save. And when I do that, it says, you realize you're going to change what's currently on the air, and I say yes. And now I'm playing that playlist. And if I go back over here to menu and look at the playlist, this is what's on the air now. You can see we're actually on the air. We're playing Jimi Hendrix live from Woodstock on the playlist on the air. And so that's now playing on the air here. Does that answer your question, Joey?
Yes, very good.
Okay. The other thing that I want to show people before we get away from this is probably the most requested feature, and it's not rocket science, but it's what somebody wants. Everybody wants, as a matter of fact. So in the past, when you wanted to go set up your meters here, what you did is you clicked on this thing, and well, no, I'll click on this one here actually, and you selected which meters you wanted to have shown on your screen. So if I don't want to have this one and this one and this one, I could say I'd rather have this one and this one and this one. I could close that, but the next time I logged in, those would all be blank, or that's the way it would be in the old system. But now I can hit save, and I can say, okay, this is Chuck, and I can save that, and now I can also set it as the default, and the next time I log in, it's automatically going to come up with that configuration on the screen for those meters. That'll save people a lot of time. What else have I forgotten here, Joey? Maybe I should go back over here to this and check there and see if there's anything else we haven't talked about. Most everything we've talked about. The only thing that I can see here that we haven't talked about is the MER display. This PS is actually being used in HD mode, and so I have not only the Constellation display that I've had before, but if I enlarge it, I can actually see a comparison or a demonstration of all the carriers that is a part of the HD signal. And if I click on one, I can actually see the performance, the MER of that particular carrier. And you'll notice here that as you get closer and closer to the analog channel, the center of the frequency channel, the MER goes down. And that's very typical, but it can tell you, it allows you in a very graphic way to understand whether or not you've got problems with the inner carriers being interfered with by your analog broadcast. Does that all make sense, Joey?
Yeah, you did a very good job.
Okay, so there we go. I think we've basically covered all of the things that we wanted to talk about. Go back to here and tell you that if you'd like to keep in touch with what's going on here at Nautel, the Nautel Waves newsletter is an excellent way to do that. Go to that address on your browser and sign in. All these webinars and many, many more are available at this web address, and you can watch them anytime. They're all available. We have a YouTube channel, Nautel Limited on YouTube, and the Nautel store allows you to buy probably 100,000 different parts online and get prices on them and all those sorts of things. And also bear in mind that we have a live chat feature. And if you can click either with this QR code or that web address, will take you to our live chat feature. And I recommend that you talk to Nautel customer service if you have any questions at all about doing the upgrade on your Nautel VS series transmitter. Joey, anything left to add?
I think we've covered everything on our list. And,
very good.
Again, if there's any more questions, don't hesitate to call us.
So, for Joey Kloss, I'm Chuck Kelly, thanking you for being a part of our webinar today, and good luck on upgrading your VS transmitter. Thank you.